Orientation is locked. Oh dear. How do I change the orientation of the live stream? All right, I expected this to be a horizontal stream, but I suppose the good gods of YouTube have decided this shall be a vertical stream. What is up, everyone? Praise the Emperor, we meet again. This is Lamentably here to spread some joy and some knowledge. Well, this is going to be a very interesting project for us today because I got my hands on the new Lieutenant Titus, and as you know, since I favor my sad boy Lamenters, I have not painted a lot of blue armor. So, I have painted Crimson Fists in the past with the very, very dark blue armor they have. But the only ultramarine I've ever painted is this decorative piece I put together at the base of this Einherd champion I painted. So this is definitely something a little different. So the way I painted this ultramarine way back when was to use Celestium Blue and shade it with Dracov Nightshade over a base of Rapone Primer. And it looks all right. Not amazing, not terrible, but just all right. So I said, if I want Lieutenant Titus to be the champion he is, what I need to do is work out a blue color scheme that really stands out. So what I decided to do for this project was start with a dark neutral gray base from Proacryl Primer, Zenithal with Liquitex Titanium ink, lay down a base layer of Two Thin Coats Marine Blue, follow that up with a mid-tone of Two Thin Coats Elysium Blue in the upper extremities, and then finishing that off with Two Thin Coats Celestian Blue. So I think that this combination of 5 paints should make a very nice middle of the road blue. Should have a lot of dynamism to it, so you get some dark recesses, but it's still a nice medium blue towards the middle of the model. So with that in mind, I'm feeling really excited to work this out together. So let's go ahead and start building our Captain Titus, and then we'll brush him and prime him together. So let's open this fella up. Very nice. Perfect. We'll put that wrapper off to the side. And then let's see what's inside the box. Oh, B. It's a push-to-fit model. I did not expect that. That means we might have a little bit of trouble when it comes around to the head, but we'll get there. So if this is a push-to-fit model, we probably have... Oh, transfers. Doi, I should have expected that. Yes, we cannot forget Lieutenant Titus's transfers. We would be very remiss if we didn't include his little lieutenant transfer. So let's stick that back over there. But yes, this is a peg base that we're going to need to put down his tactical rock in. So the reason that I am surprised that we have a little bit of challenge with a push-to-fit model is these pairs of heads right here. So this model... Oh, Oh, we don't need to worry about his transfer. It's already molded into the armor. Perfect. But this head is something that I'm going to want to paint separately on its own sprue from the rest of the model. So what we're going to need to do is figure out a way to build the model and keep the head separate, so when we're doing our airbrushing for the different layers of paint we're working with, we can still keep it looking mostly flesh colored, so that when we do get along to the layers of white and layers of flesh and the shading, we don't have to worry about a pink turning blue back into pink. Oh, hey, and Watch, thanks for joining us today. Excited for you to join in. We're real excited to build Lieutenant Titus together. So let's set him down. Let's see, another thing I was thinking about doing with this base was putting down the texture paint first so it has time to dry. So why don't we build the model first? Because I am quite worried about where that tactical rock, that tactical rock is quite spacious, so we might need to figure something out. So let's start by building the model. We have our instructions here. Let's put the space off to the side. We have our sprue cutters. And most important of all, oh, wait a second. If this is a push-to-fit model, do we even need to glue it? See, this is why we do this stuff together. We're figuring it out on the fly. All right, so why don't we just start putting pieces 5 and 6 together. Here's 6. It's Lieutenant Titus's chainsword. We'll just snap that off real quick. And then 5 is a chest piece. So let's, oh, here it is, right here at the bottom of the sprue. So let's just snip that off real quick. Boink. And then boink. All set. Perfect. We'll just wedge that in there. Let's see. Just like, come on. Oh, there, oh. Should just slide right in. Why is it not sliding in? Come on. Oh, I don't want to force it too much. My worry is if I force it too much, that probably means I'm not doing it right. The instructions say I'm doing it right. There we go, yeah. That peg, that hole. All right, that's looking right. So let's find pieces 3 and 4. Let's see. Here's 3. All right. And 4. Oh, wait a minute. Piece 4 is made from pieces 1 and 2 put together. See, this is why we do it together, so we figure this stuff out. So here's piece number 2. Oh, look at that. The ultramarine sigil is molded right into the kneecap. Still trying to decide how I feel about that, because on the one hand, that saves us some work in laying down some transfers. On the other hand, I do like playing with transfers. But on the flip side, I suppose this is meant to be an introductory model, so this is built with new consumers in mind. So no, I take that back. This is a good pro-consumer choice for new Warhammer fans. All right. All right. Well, let's push that in. Oh. Whew. Feels like I have to use a lot of force to push that in. That does unsettle me a bit. Has me worried I might be doing it wrong. But that's just the monkey brain talking, of course. It's not looking quite right. Yeah, according to the instructions, this is the right piece. Is it all the way back? It says it. Yeah, looks better now. All right. So then we'll stick that into this bottom hole of piece number 3. Ooh, I really do not like how much force we gotta use to push it in. That makes me quite worried that I'm doing it wrong. Let's take one more look. Yeah, this piece goes in. This is the only hole at the bottom. All right. I think I got it. It's not as tight as it should be. I don't know. In comparison with other push fit models I've done for Warhammer, like the Indominus box and especially this hole right here, this thing isn't sticking in there real good. All right, so this is where we're going to deviate from the instructions. So we should stick a head through the back piece and the front piece, but we're not because we want to paint this separately and glue it on in a place later. So what I'll do is I'll give Titus a little haircut up top. And then we'll snip him off the sprue and paint the head separately because I want it to have very clear flesh tones, not be affected by any of the blues we're working with. So let's stick his head off to the side. Put him right by let's put him right by this blue. Right where everyone can see him. Oh, isn't that fantastic? So let's stick this together. Oh, I'm falling right apart in my hands. I wonder why this isn't sticking in as firmly. Oh, maybe it needs to go in at a little bit more of an angle. Yeah, because it's not lining up with his other leg stub there. Okay, now that's sticking together. So then let's try putting it together now. Oh, it's not sticking as firmly as I hope. Oh, see, we gotta make it. We gotta push real hard for all the parts except this back leg. That's strange. So, am I wedging it together wrong? That's my initial thought. Why would it be? Let's twist it a little. Oh, no. Now it's sticking pretty good. Let's put a... I'm just so afraid to put too much force on it. Because if there's too much force, I'll probably break it in my hands. There... Oh, no. Why do we have this gap? See, I thought building the model be the easy part. So that leg does go in at an angle. Let's see, the sword comes in at an angle. Seems to be fitting at the top okay, so why do we have this gap here at the bottom? That doesn't look right. That's so weird. Okay, I'm going to try something a little drastic. I'm going to give it a good smack. This is really not what I want to do, but I can't get it back out to... So I can't pry it apart. So I'm just going to try to give it a good old whack or two. All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2... 3. Well, that didn't work. Let's try it again. 1, 2. I hate that it's working. The gap is quite a bit thinner. Ugh, why? I mean, from the look of it, I put it together right. So, in theory, I shouldn't need to do any bashing. Gosh. All right, monkey brain wins again. Let's give it another good whack. Oh, now the gap is wider again. Ugh. What am I doing wrong? How am I doing this wrong? Oh, it actually does look thinner on the other side, oddly enough. Could I fill this up with gap filler? I probably could. But then I don't learn anything because somehow I've messed this up and I don't know how. I still can't force it apart, which is probably not a surprise because I did a good job whacking it. All right, so maybe 2 more whacks. Because it seems to be in this area right here that we're having issues making it fit. So, 1, 2, 3. That is a little better. Let's give it another go. 1, 2, 3. Quite a bit better, actually. We might be almost there. How about 2 more whacks? Double tap. All right, well, if I put in some gap filler and hold it tight, that should do it. However, we shouldn't need to do that in the first place. So I got to have done it wrong somehow. I'm not sure how. Oh, now I can't even get the lid off the gap filler. Oh, there we go. So what we'll do is we'll stick just a itty bitty bit of gap filler and let it dry. Just let that run down inside. Very nice. We'll pry it open a little bit, close, pry open, and close. Just try to gently coax it into the gap there. What I love about Monument Paint's gap filler is that it's a great way to restore integrity to a model from a loose gap. That's something I use a lot with a lot of the recast models I work with, but I usually don't need to use it for a lot of first-party models, so this is a little bit of a weird diversion for me. So there we go. Let's just hold this in place for a moment while we let that gap filler sit. And then we'll also coax it down the actual spray hole so that next time we use it, it shouldn't be clogged. I actually had to cut a bit of the tip off because it got too clogged once. So there we go. Let's just hold it for a moment more. Yeah, that looks real nice, don't it? Well, gee, this was supposed to be the easy part. Oh boy. So let's look ahead at the directions while we're waiting for that to dry. Next up, we'll be working on the pauldrons and the pistol. Well, that should be easy. Yeah, we'll just give this just a minute more to dry. The nice thing about the Monument Paints gap filler is that it truly is quick set. It works fast. So, I got high hopes for it. But yeah, this is a good looking model so far. I like the pits of the battle damage. I'll probably use some Rhinox hide and some Stormhost silver to bring it out. Yeah, so I'm real excited to be working with this model. Okay, looks like we got that area filled in pretty nice. So let's move on to the pistol and the pauldrons. So we want pieces 7, 8, and 9. Well, easy enough. We already know that the Lieutenant Pauldron goes on the right shoulder because the Codex Astartes says so. And what is Titus but not a strict follower of the Codex Astartes? Just ask his biggest fan, Leandros. And then piece number 8, that's the pistol. There we go. Let's just boop right there. And then boop right there. All right, let's set this back off to the side. Let's start with the pistol. It should just be a quick, easy fit. Well, it's supposed to be quick, easy fit. Oh, we got to put a lot of force in getting it in there. Let me tell you, I don't like the amount of force we got to use for this push fit model. And it looks like it's not even... Oh, yeah, it fell right out. Great. I do not like how much force we have to use to push these pieces into place. It makes me feel very nervous that I'm about to break a peg. So there we go. Looks like how it does on the box. Then we'll do the left pauldron. Oh, and it looks like the ultramarine sigil isn't molded in, so we can just use that transfer later. There we go. We'll push that into place. And then we'll do the lieutenant pauldron right here. Literally right here. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Then we'll do his running left leg. That's pieces 11 and 10. Let's see. Here's piece number 10 down here and piece number 11 at the top. So let's just give that a quick little snip. And snip. Snip. And snip. We're good. Perfect. All right, we'll put them together real quick. Oh, yep, gotta use a lot of force to fit those together. I don't like that. I don't like how much force we gotta use. Gotta push that in. Oh, yeah, you gotta use a lot of force to push that in. That really unsettles me. Why do we have to use so much force to fit this together? I'm half tempted to cut off the peg and just use Tamiya glue to hold it in place. I wouldn't be doing it right, though. But then again, I've already made one deviation by painting the head separately, so... Potatoes, potatoes. Tomatoes, tomatoes. Let's just call the whole thing off. And we'll give it one more try at a push. Nope. All right. I think I'd rather it look good than do it by the book, so let's just cut that peg off. Just make sure it looks right. It does. Perfect. Yeah, it goes right into place without that peg, so it's weird that we even got to use it in the first place. All right, let's give our Tamiya glue a little shake. And then we'll just do a couple light dollops. Some light dabbing, as a 7th grader might tell you they did back in 2019. And then we'll just let that mix together. Hold it in spot. Well, there we go. While we wait for this to dry, tell me, do you have a Lieutenant Titus of your own yet? Do you plan on getting one? Have you played Space Marine 2? Have you finished the campaign? Let me tell you, I love Titus in the campaign. I loved him in Space Marine 1, so I'm real excited to have a little Titus of my own. There we go. That seems to dry pretty quickly. So this should be the... Oh, 2 last pieces will be his pistol holder and his backpack. So, whoops, dropped it. Dropped it again. Oh, and the base. So I did decide that I will prime Titus on the base and then paint the base after the fact. one of these earthy textures. That way we can prime him on the base and hold everything together a little easier. So why don't we actually do that? Let's put the model here. We'll peg it in the right hole. It's this little hexagon hole, so just like the Indominus box all over again. You gotta use a lot of force to get it in there, and I don't like that. In fact, I think we did have to peg him harder than we did any of the Indominus models, which is weird. So there we go. Look at our champion Titus. Let's get him that pistol holder. And the backpack. Oh, nice. Well, there we go. We'll just twist that off. We'll put the rest of the sprue on this side. We'll turn it into some fantastic sprue goo someday, one day. Hopefully, we don't need to push too hard to put the power pack on. Yeah, that amount of force is what I was expecting this whole time. That time. All right, now let's stick the... kind of coming in at a funny angle. Yeah, should set... According to the instructions, anyway, it should set just like... Hang on. Instructions aren't being too helpful here. Yeah, it's at an angle here. So we should just be able to slide that on top. So why is it not sliding? We should just be able to slide that on top. Old sausage fingers here is having a tough time navigating it under the chainsword arm. Well, I really don't want to chop it off and glue it in place, but that's the route I'm leaning towards. Oh! We got it! Ladies and gentlemen, we got it. It just took a lot of brute force. Gazgul probably be proud. Gulliman probably wince. Rogaldorn would nod solemnly. There we go. So, now that we got this entirely in place, let's move our work over to the spray station. Oh, maybe just stretch my leg first a little bit. Oh, I was sitting cross-legged so long I didn't even realize that I was cutting off my blood flow there. So, we're going to move this fancy light over to the spray station. Then we're going to move this entire setup over to the spray station. Let's see, put that in a place. Very high-tech here. Very high-tech studio. Multi-million-dollar. The head, of course, can't forget that. Primer, can't forget that. Ink, but we'll put that off to the side of the box. For the Emperor. That's right, nobody. We do it for the Emperor. All right, gonna pivot my chair. Oh, that's why I should have stretched my leg. Oh my goodness. oh, no blood there. Oh, he looks handsome already. Thank you so much, nobody. I appreciate it. So here we go. We're gonna mix up some dark neutral gray primer. We have a mixing cup. Where's my mixing stick? Perfect. So the way I like to mix my Pro-Acryl primer is to do 3 drops, have 2 drops, and then for every 3 drops, 2 drops of flow improver, and then 2 drops of thinner. So if we're doing one model and one head, we won't need a ton. Let's start with maybe 6 drops of primer, so we'll need 6 drops of thinner and 2 drops of flow improver. Now don't forget, when we're working with paint, specifically airbrushes, you gotta remember to wear a glove to protect your skin. Your skin is important. There we go. Protect your skin and wear a glove. So, let's go ahead and start mixing our holy oils. Let's do 6 drops of primer. Set this off to the side. We'll do 2 drops of flow improver. And then we'll do 10 drops of thinner. Here we go. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Change my mind. Let's do 12. I'm so great at math on the fly. Then we'll mix it all up before we put it into the pot. Ideally, you should have the consistency of skim milk. Excuse the dog if you can hear it barking. Oh, look at that. This is too thin. Yep, needs to be a little thicker. So what we'll do is we'll put in, how about 4 more drops of dark neutral gray primer. Let's start with 4, and then we'll figure that out from there. That was a little bit more than 4. The nice thing about primer is how viscid it is. That also means it can be a little too much sometimes. We're just about there. Do I want to put another drop of primer in there? Yeah, it's looking a little too thin. So, maybe 2. We may even need 2 drops of primer. And by 2, I mean 3. And by 3, I mean 4. Let me tell you, math is so important when it comes to this hobby. It's an imprecise science. And a lot of figuring stuff out on the go. Okay, that's looking about right. Okay. So, now that we have our amazing primer, we're going to turn on the airbrush to 35 psi. We're going to move this bottle so it's not in the way. We're going to take 2 drops of flow improver and put it into the cup of the airbrush. Let's just do a quick... Uh-oh. Something's wrong with my airbrush. It's not flowing. Oh, wait. Yes, it is. Okay. That's why we do the flow improver first, to grease it up. Oh no, I am wrong. It is clogged. Dang it. That's what I should have checked first. Yes, yes. Oh, nope, nope. It just needed a minute to get that flow improver through. Perfect. So let's dump this primer in. Perfect. Let's do a quick test spray before we put it on the model. Oh, yeah, it's coming out, but I'm worried it still might be not thick enough. Well, let's at least put one coat on, and then we'll let it dry and figure it out from there. There we go. Experimental, you know? This is why we paint Warhammer together. Y'all can learn from my mistakes, and I can learn from your tips and ideas in the comments. Yep. Coating that on. I do think it's a little too thin. So we'll just work through this first. It should dry fairly quick. Oh, yep, it's looking darker now. There we go. A little better, a little better. There we go. Now that's looking about right. Except for the fact, of course, that it's still a little too thin. I'm actually tempted to go over it with a coat of Proacryl Black Primer. What do you think, chat? Should I go over it again with some black primer? Because it's looking a little too light. Noah DeBobo says, I should eat him. Well, I'll tell you what. He does look good enough to eat. I like it. I like it. What would a Space Marine pair well with? Any Tyranids in the comments who could answer that for us? Yeah, that is a nice gray, but I think we should try some black primer instead. Let's turn off our compressor real quick, put it back on the charger, and then we'll mix a few drops of Proacryl Black Primer. Here we go. Space Marine. What would a Space Marine pair well with? Well, can't go wrong with Diet Coke. Surely Diet Coke's got to exist in the 42nd millennium. Don't you think? Maybe let's try a 1-to-1 ratio. Maybe I'm judging it by the fact that it looks too gray, but there we go. 1-to-1 primer flow improver mix. If it doesn't, I should. There we go. I should pair them with a Diet Coke. There we go. That's some nice skim milk consistency. See, this is why we do stuff together. We figure it out. All right, since we're already waiting for that gray primer to dry a little bit, let's try the primer on Titus's head. There we go. Let's do 35 psi. Then we'll gently pour it into the pot. Well, perfect. I see we got a lot of viewers in the chat today. Well, hey, if you like what you're seeing, please let me know who your favorite Space Marine 2 character is. Obviously, mine is Titus, but I do find Chiron surprisingly affable. He's like Leandros turned right. Let's mix it in the pot a little bit. Look at those bubbles. Oh, yeah, that's looking real good. All right, so let's spray Titus's head real quick. Just put a quick thin coat down. It's actually looking more gray than the dark neutral gray. Oh, it's not flowing. Time to do some live surgery on a grape. Let's figure out what is going on. Yeah, hole's looking right. Let's clean off the tip a little bit. Let's see. It seems to be gelling pretty quickly. Let's try twisting this in, forcing it all the way through. Let's try pulling it back out. It's not flowing right. So we at least narrowed it down to where the problem is. Let's take out our needle real quick. Oh, it won't twist for some reason. Well, I don't want to twist it too hard and break the delicate needle. Oh, well, that popped right off. Oh! Woo, you see that? Well, we figured out where the problem was. All right, yep. So it was not a needle problem. It was this guy. Well, why don't we stick him back on? And is that... Oh, yep. Yep, that was our problem, all right. That was just a little too stuck. So let's twist this cat back on. Hooey! And then we'll give it a test. Oh, yep. Well, that's coming out better. Not great, though. So, let's figure out if it's... Why is this too tight? Is it just sitting in here too tight? What if we loosen that up there? Okay, we're definitely on the right track. This is why we use a box. This is why the spray station is a box. Keep everything contained while we do our mad orc science. Science of the mad orc variety. Oh, there we go. That's flowing nice now. Let's see if we got some good backflow. Look at those bubbles. Okay, I think we're in a good spot now. So let's find where we put Titus's head. And then let's give it another whirl. Okay, yeah, that's looking better. That's looking better. It was doing better. Now it's not. Oh, there we go. Give that a second, and then let's... There we go. It's just got to work through its own issues. All right. Well, that is looking primed. Let's let it dry, and then we'll probably give it a second coat. While that's drying, let's go back to our deadly space marine. There we go. That black primer is starting to hit it. Or it was. Yeah, I think my airbrush will need a good, thorough cleanse. So, if the airbrush needs a good, thorough cleanse, I might not be able to do the rest of the work with an airbrush tonight. But then I'd have to rename the stream something else. So why don't we get a little creative? We might be able to pull it off with the Two Thin Coats paints by virtue of them being a good option for airbrushes and for brushwork, because they are an all-around great hobbyist paint. So once we get past this priming stage, we should be able to make it work. But I'm getting increasingly frustrated that the airbrush is not working. So let's just take another peek-see at that tip. Interesting. Seems to be working. Oh yeah, and we managed to prime the head. So is it just drying too fast? Oh, maybe we just needed to clean that tip a little bit. Okay, worked for a minute. Not for long, but worked for a second. Interesting. It seems to be congealing at the tip. So am I not putting in enough flow improver? Maybe not. Well, this is going to need a thorough bath regardless. Oh! Psh. Well, that was a messy explosion. Excuse me. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to clean out the airbrush, and then we'll try some different method of priming. So let's start backwashing our pot. There we go. Let's clean it out with a paper towel. And then I'll give each and every piece a long soak in some airbrush thinner. And that should fix our problems. Should. Take care of your airbrush and it'll take care of you. That's what I used to say, and apparently I did not learn it well enough. I did something wrong, and I'm not sure what. Oh, yeah, now it's not even flowing. Okay, let us do backfill. So, we got some water going through some air pumping through somewhere. Pigments are a little too thick. Yep, we got the backflow. Interesting. Isn't the painting process so much fun? Working through different kinds of problems you didn't plan on solving? Oh, the pot's stuck. Why is the pot stuck? Interesting. Yeah, there's something wrong with my connection between my pot and my airbrush. So I might need to pass it through with a Q-tip. Well, it does look quite a lot cleaner now. So that's good. That's good. Still benefit from taking everything apart and letting it soak, though. So let's turn off our compressor. Got to let the model dry a bit before I show you what crazy thing we're going to do next. So let's grab a little paper cup. We'll put a little bit of thinner in it. Or a lot of thinner by comparison. A little bit more of this airbrush cleaner from Army Painter. A lot by comparison. And then let's take everything apart. Let's put this little piece in here. We'll put the two pieces of the funnel in there. Look at that. It's already stripping that paint off to begin. It's already stripping that paint off. So we know it's working. Mix it around a little bit. Oh, yep, I'm seeing chunks of it coming off, so I wonder if it was an issue with it drying too fast. Let that mix for a bit, and let that mix for a bit. Look at them dance, look at them dance, look at them dance. Nice. All right. I am seeing a lot of dried paint coming off that. More than I expected, and I don't know how to feel about that, because I thought I was doing a pretty good job keeping it clean. On the flip side, this is a valuable lesson to remember to test the airbrush before I do a live stream. All right, let's put that down for a sec. Got a little bit of buildup in there, but not a lot. So why don't we put this guy safely back on the airbrush rack so it doesn't, so we don't accidentally bend the needle. We'll put this cup off to the side. We'll probably need a toothpick to clean this guy out. Oh, no, I can probably do that. Yeah, that should work. Next time. So we were probably going to screw that back onto the body. Let's take a look at our primer. It is still drying. Airbrush primer sometimes does take a while to dry. Especially since it kind of vomited itself all over the model. So, I have an idea. It's a crazy idea. And I don't know if it's a great idea. But it's to use a spray can primer indoors. It's very dangerous. They say not to do it. But not gonna lie, I am pretty tempted. What do you think, chat? Should I give it a shot? Yeah, what I'm thinking of doing is taking this can of matte gray primer and spraying it inside the box. I've never tried spraying the spray can primer inside the box before. So, I don't know, it's kind of tempting. Not gonna lie, it's pretty tempting. What do you think? Should I spray this indoors? Giving a good shake, still trying to decide. Not seeing anybody saying no, so I might do it. I am wearing a glove, so I'll be taken care of. Let's take... Yeah, I think you're right, Bismarckian. It probably could work. So, yeah, that's looking about dry. So, just be safe. I am going to move these airbrush bits off to the side. Let's put this guy off to the side. And then we'll give it just a little test spray. Here we go. Oh! That was surprisingly easy. Wow. I'm actually disappointed how easy it was, because I thought it'd explode everywhere. All right, here we go. Spray cans indoors. What's the worst that could happen? That's a lot of dust in the air. see. That's a nice looking head, I'll tell you what. Look at that guy. Yeah, we still got some, like, dark undertones from the airbrush primer we tried. But otherwise, yeah, this is looking pretty good. I'm actually shocked how good it looks. Alright, yeah, alright, perfect. Airbrush indoors. Rattle cans indoors. There's no way that can haunt me in 10, 30 years. Let's see. I'm gonna put the head over. Whoops. On the side. We don't want it to fall face first and lose that primer. Alright. Ooh, Bismarckian says that he's going to buy Titus too. Nice. Yeah, watch out. Let me know if it's hard to push fit together or not. One thing that I like about this matte gray primer is it looks just like Games Workshop plastic. There we go. Yeah. All that explosion of the black primers covered up. That's a nice thick layer. That's looking pretty good. We do have to wait for it to dry for a bit. So let's just give that a minute. Let's take a look at that Titus head. Accidentally dropped it on its face once, so I think I will give it a quick burst. There we go. Perfect. So while that dries, I'm going to go open a window. Well, that was not disastrous, but I do think that I am convinced to not use spray primer indoors anymore. Whew. Whew, sweet air. There we go. You never miss what you have until it's gone. And that includes airbrush bits. So, maybe while we wait for this to dry, why don't we see how effective our little bath was? Oh, yeah, look at that dried paint. So, you know, maybe we can make it work for some white zenithal if we make sure this is all cleaned up. Ooh, check it out. Bismarckian's working on a sniper squad. Sweet. That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, I hear real good things about those snipers. So, yeah. Why don't we give this a good thorough... Right. Scrub-a-dub-dub. Fixing the airbrush like a scrub. Oh, there we go. Well, I'm surprised at all the paint buildup there. See, this wasn't the... I don't think this is the piece that had the issues. But, man, there was some buildup there I didn't know about. Yeah, this is looking nice and clean. This is the part that we decided was having the problems, so that's looking nice and clean. So let's stick this back in there. We'll screw this back on. And then let's give it some test sprays. Here's our airbrush back. Screw that back on. And then let's do some test sprays. Throw it on a 50 psi to force oh yeah! Oh yeah, look at that! That's just pumping everything through. Let's run 4 or 5 drops of airbrush cleaner through it. Oh yeah. Backfill test. Still feel like it's having some trouble pushing air through. Or pushing fluid through. Oh, Bismarckian has to go to bed. Well, thanks so much for joining us, friend. Thanks so much. Have a great night. Yep, it is not pushing that airbrush cleaner through. All right, this is why we learn to paint with regular brushes as well as airbrushes. We're getting backflow okay. So why is it okay with doing backflow but not flow forward? The answer might surprise you, but it sounds more and more like clog, but we checked all the parts. All right. Seems to be working a little better without the pot. So why would the pot being screwed in or not make a difference? It's clear all the way through. Or is it just like one of those Windows things where you gotta shut it off and turn it back on again to make it work? Okay, well, maybe we just had to unscrew it and put it back together again, because now that I took that pot off and screwed it back on, it seems to be pumping fluid through okay. Oh no, I spoke too soon? Nope. Seems like the seal's working. So what is it about the pot that's making it not work? That'll have to be something I solve off stream, because it does look like the primer is dry. So there we go. Look at that handsome face. Oh, Lieutenant Titus is ready to lead us into battle. We'll be painting him some Cadian flesh tone. Oh, Kislev flesh. Let's give that a good shake. There we go. Looking good, looking good. So we'll put our Cadian flesh off to the side to join our collection of other paints. We'll need some Gulliman flesh. Where'd I put that? Skeleton horde. Once upon a time, my paint rack was organized. Gorgrunta fur. Gargrunt sewer. Here we go. Gulliman flesh. Yeah, right now my favorite flesh tone combo is a base of white, some Kislev flesh, and then Gulliman flesh over that. Maybe that'll change. I used to be quite fond of Cadian flesh. But, no, eventually I just decided that I like the other look better. Oh yeah, Spirit Medium, can't forget that. Taking one last look around for Cadian flesh just to make sure. Nope, alright. Kislev flesh it is. So then what we'll do is we'll rearrange our lights and take it back from the spray station to the desk. Whoop. Can't forget the head. Somewhere around here. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. So let's hold on to this because we'll be working that head real soon. In the meanwhile, let's start mixing up our tones. We're going to start with a base coat of marine blue. We're going to use some Spirit Medium to make that a little more viscous. We have a brush. We have our... We almost have our water. There we go. Imperium's best bottled water, as Gulliman intended. Only the best for his sons. Let's just take another look at that primer real quick. Make sure that it is dry. Looks dry, feels dry. Yep, that's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. So, let's go ahead and we'll take 3 drops of medium, 3 drops of marine blue, and then we'll mix it together and start. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. Actually, we can do a little more. 4, 5, 6. There we go. Let's do 6 and 6. That should be enough. Let's shake it a little bit more. Shake your paints. Very important. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Set that back over here. And then we'll do some mixing up. Oh, look at that. Doesn't that look lovely? It does look a little too thick, but when we wet it, that should take care of that. Can't forget your paper towel. Don't forget to bring a towel. Grab a little bit of water. Load up our brush. And then we'll get to work. I guess if I wanted to, we could dry brush some white. Almost like a slap chop. Almost. Wouldn't be quite there. But it'd be close-ish to the technique. Evening, Kiro. This is not the monthly model. This is actually the new Lieutenant Titus. Yeah, got my hands on him today. Real excited to try him out. You know how much I love painting yellow, so painting blue is quite a bit different for me. And let me tell you, it has been an adventure already. We had some airbrush problems, so we learned how to spray a can indoors. That was wild. But yeah, I'm using Two Thin Coats Marine Blue, and it seems to be covering the model pretty nicely. I'm real excited with how it's coming together. Hey, thank you for the salute, Francois. I appreciate it. Oh, yep, Kiro, today. Today is the first day you can buy him as a standalone model instead of either of the board games or beginner sets. So I am using the Duncan Rhodes Blue Triad, starting off with Marine Blue. Then we're going to hit Elysium Blue on some of the upper highlights. And then we're going to hit the extremities with Celestial Blue. Should be a lot. It's been a lot of fun. And let me tell you, it has been an adventure. A good reminder to learn how to paint outside of airbrush alone, because of the airbrush problems I've been having, because I wouldn't been able to make it to this step if I didn't know how to do some brush work outside of airbrushing. And let me tell you, oh, you totally won't turn him into a Lamenter? Technically, your model, your paint, your choice. No one can tell you otherwise. For the painting experience, yes. For those we cherish, we die in glory. Ooh, great idea from Francois. If I use loam oil as my next layer, it'll add quite a bit more to the model. Yes. I was worried about not getting volumetric highlights because I wasn't able to do zenithal with ink. So that sounds like a good way to sneak around that. So I'll do that. Oh, yeah, great point from Kiro way back in 2nd edition Warhammer. Lamenters technically were Ultramarine successors. I mean, technically, wasn't everyone an Ultramarine successor? Well, hey, good night, Kiro. Hope you have a great evening. Thanks for popping in. Perfect. Gives me some fresh appreciation for contrast paint, though, because, man, it does take a while for this to dry and layer and go back again. But hey, this is why we do it. We do it because it's fun, not because it's fast or easy. It's fun regardless of the fact that it's fast or easy. There we go. We got our first layer down. Let's let it dry for a minute or two. And then we'll go with Francois' idea and hit it with some Nuln Oil. Oh, doesn't he look so good? Pride of McCrag. Oh, I see I missed his elbow there. Let's get that. Could get those chains a little better. Perfect. Let's check him out from below. I see a couple of overhangs that we could get a little better. Here we go. Some knowledge from Francois. In 2nd edition, each chapter had successors, but they were not many main successors that were not Ultramarines. Good to know. The more you know. Isn't Warhammer lore so much fun? A lot of what got me into Warhammer initially was the deep and interesting lore. Let's hit these undershades a little more. Consecrators had always been a Dark Angels chapter. That's good to know. There we go. Let's let them dry a little bit. Clean out our brush. Let's look for that Nuln Oil. That was a great idea, Francois. I'm so excited to try that Nuln Oil. Consecrators have been around since Rogue Trader. That's good to know. Let's see, I got some Grey Knight Steel. That'll be great for the Power Sword. I got some Rhinox Hide. I wanted to use that for the head and some of the battle damage. You might be able to find some work to do with this Lead Belcher. Wraithbone. Oh yeah, Corax White. That could be good for the Ultramarine Sigil. Where's that Nuln Oil? Contrast Black Templar. Retributor Armor. That could be good for the Sword Pommel. Oops. Apothecary White. White Star. Ivory Tusk could be good for his cloth. Oops! Titus, no! He took a dive. Oh, is this the long oil? Here it is. Long oil in the flesh. I have misplaced Titus's head, though. Where did I put it? Oh, he almost fell into the water. Oh, yes, Francois. Blue librarians. Ezekiel does famously wear blue armor. Oh dear, where did I put Titus's head? Oh, it's over here. Okay, thank goodness. Is Lamenters a thing here? Yes, I love Lamenters. Lamenters is my whole shtick. Here's my Stern Guard Lamenter with a pyro cannon. Here's a Lamenter Death Company and another Lamenter Stern Guard. Lamenter Sanguinary Priest with Jump Pack, RIP. And yeah, I even painted the base a checkerboard. So when I get the new Sanguinary Priest, I'm going to do the same thing and give him a checkerboard base. Ooh, yeah, Francois, I'll have to check out your community tab and look at your Lamenters. I love learning about different ways to paint Lamenters. All right, so let's put a base, a thin layer of titanium white onto Titus's face real quick. Very thin, light layer so that we can build it up with the Kislev flesh. So let's take our brush. I bet you we'll need to do 2 or 3 coats of this. So let's take our little white, thin it down, because we don't want to glob it. I'd rather do, 7 or 8 thin layers of white to do the face than one globby layer of white and lose a lot of his facial details. Remember what I was just saying about globs? Oh my gosh, that was not thin enough. So let's try to spread that around. There we go. He's got very curly hair, so we're able to wick most of that off. I may have panicked too soon. This is about what we want it to be. We have some white highlights. We still got some dark recesses, so this will actually probably be perfect for that layer of Kislev flesh. Whew! Man, I wish I could pass off luck as skill, but a lot of the times it is just luck. Lamenter's got to have good luck sometimes, Well, let's cap off that white. Let's take a look at this guy. Oh, yeah. That layer of blue's getting drier, but we're not there yet. Not there yet. So why don't we work on the pistol and the chainsword? Yes. I'll pull out some. Let's do the sword, Granite Steel, and the gun, Lead Belcher. And then we'll give it like a red contrast paint trim. That sounds pretty cool. One thing that I do like about the Citadel pots is that you can take small volumes of paint and mix them right there in this little top cavity. So let's hit that pistol real quick. with more than one molecular bonding stud, I'll tell you what, my Lamenters tend to have quite a few. And I may have unintentionally made a great idea here, because we can do these chains Leadbelcher too. Leadbelcher is a great color for chains. Yeah, Lamenters don't get the nicest or newest of stuff. It's actually kind of amazing that they got the Primaris Marines at all. Perfect. While we wait for that to dry, let's work on that chain sword. We got our fancy schmancy granite steel. Woo. Almost sent Titus a flying. We'll take just a itty bitty bit. And then away we go. Oh, looking nice. Nice and thin. Nice thin layer. We'll put some maybe Agrax Earthshade on it to make it look aged and worn and dirty. But yeah, this is looking pretty nice. We'll take a little blue out of that pommel, and then we'll put some gold on it later. But other than that, yeah, this is about the direction we want to start going. Let that dry a bit. Rinse our brush. Oh no, I see that I missed a whole plate of armor. Let's put some marine blue on it, and oh, yep, we're good. Whew, it's mostly covered by that pistol holder, so that's how I missed it in the first place. Otherwise, we're just about there. One thing I do like about airbrushes is that it does tend to dry faster. But I guess that's on me for not testing it before the show to begin with. All right. Yep, we still got to wait for that to dry. That pistol's coming along pretty good, though. Let's see. Let's find a nice brown for this pistol holder. I don't want to use Rhinox hide because I want to make his hair that color. And it'd be weird if his holster looked like hair. We do have some Gargant Sewer, though. So if I maybe mix that Rhinox hide with some Gargant Sewer and maybe a drop of black, that could look different enough. Well, hey, I'm all about taking risks. Let's give it a shot. Maybe we'll make it primarily black, so I don't know, half and half. So let's do 2 drops of black and a glob of Rhinox hide. Just a meaty glob. Then we'll mix it up. we go. That's looking pretty nice. So let's grab a little bit of water on the brush. Pull that in. And then away we go. Oh yeah, that's looking real nice. That's looking real nice. Looking a little bit like an aged leather. And then we finish that off with that gargant sewer when it's dry, and it should be pretty good. This is why I love painting. I love figuring out problems on the fly. In fact, why don't we lay this down as a layer for these purity seals? That way we can work from something a little more in tone when we start building up that cloth and paper color. Nice, nice. Rinse off our brush. Ah, that blue isn't dry yet. One detail I kind of did forget about the Duncan Rhodes Too Thin Coats paints is that they do take a while to dry. Oh yeah, look at that pistol holster. It's already almost, it's pretty close to getting dry. Closer than the most of the armor, oddly enough. Interesting. So what I'm going to do is, because I opened my window so I could breathe, I'm going to close now because it's quite cold. Hope you're all having a holly jolly Christmas. Oh. And I'm going to get some blood flowing to my legs so I can walk again. I have a bad habit of crossing my legs when I'm sitting on my chair for painting. Whew. It's a lot more comfortable, but man, it takes longer to get some blood flowing to my leg. Let's check on Titus's head. Yeah, that white's looking pretty dry. We'll work on that after we do our coat of Elysium blue. Let's start prepping it. We don't need as much as we did the marine blue. So here's our spirit medium. Let's just take maybe 4 drops. We'll mix it with 4 drops of maybe 3 drops of Elysium blue. That should help it dry a little faster. All right, now let's mix it up. Oh, that's a good looking texture. I like the look of it. Why don't we stick a little bit of that marine blue in there too? Nice. Just make that transition a little bit. All right, now let's work on these highest of highlights. We'll gently maybe we'll want to mix a little bit more of that marine blue in there, because that looks just a little too bright for my liking. Let's make a nice mid-tone there. There we go. That's some nice zenithal. We'll go over it pretty quickly. Oh, I just forgot to do the Nuln Oil. Sorry, Francois. I forgot. There we go. It does look like he's jumping into the limelight, though. So what I'll do is I'll do the Nuln Oil after this. And then maybe a little bit of this layer again to try to moderate that. There we go. That's looking like an ultramarine blue. The sons of McCragg might be proud. There we go. Let's get that undershade a bit. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Macron. Yeah, I'll do it after this step, then repeat this step. So there we go. Yep, I like that layer buildup. So that is going the way we want it to go. I'll put that Nuln Oil in the front so we don't forget it. Can't forget it now. Ooh, great idea from Francois. Nuln Oil, Dracoff Nightshade, and Gulliman Glaze between stages of layering and dry brushing. Yeah, I do have Dracoff. That could be fun. Smoother blends and deeper blues. Makes sense to me. Very nice, very nice. Yep. Power Sword's looking pretty good, and so's our pistol. Why don't we let that dry a little bit more, and we can start working on the first layer of Kislev flesh for Titus's face. So, here we go. Oh, let's give that a little more vigorous shake. Shaking paints is a lot of fun, I'll tell you what. Oh, my paint mixer's in the other room. Hold on, I'll go grab it. Tell you what, vortex spinners to mix paint are a very good investment. So let's start breaking down that. Let's start breaking down that Cadian flesh. Here we go, here we go. Oh, yep, that's flowing a little better. Beautiful. Vortex spinners. Works every time. All right. Let's set that down real quick. Perfect. Then we'll start layering his very veteran face. There we go. We just want a nice thin flesh tone. And we'll probably need a layer or two. The thing about faces, it's gotta be thin, not too thick, just pretty thin. If it stops looking like a face, you know it's too thick. There we go. That'll work as a first layer, so we'll put that off to the side. I see that we touched his pistol holster with that blue mix, so let's touch it up a little bit. Some of that blue out. Perfect. Looking good, looking good. Our blue's just about dry. I remember the Nuln oil this time. Chat, do you see what I'm seeing? No. No. I'm going to try to get that out with a wet brush. How did I get skin color on my ultramarine? There we go. Let's gently coax it out and soak it. If I brush it too hard, it's just going to pull the paint back a layer off the primer. So what you got to do is you got to gently dab with the dryish brush. so you don't accidentally strip off the layer of paint you just put on. So that is looking better. I can see a little bit of that gray peeking out in the laurel leaves, but we'll be painting those gold anyway, so that'll work out okay. Not amazing, just okay. Well, while we wait for the rest of that armor to dry, let's go ahead and put down our first coat of red gun casing. Let's do some Blood Angels Red. That's my favorite look, Blood Angels Red over Lead Belcher. So we'll just paint this bullet casing a little bit of red, then a little bit of ball red over that later, and then we'll coat the whole thing in Nuln Oil. Fantastic. Tell you what, this thing's almost battle ready, but he sure wouldn't win any golden demons. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm very interested to see how many, if any, Tituses we see in Golden Demon this year, or if they try to replicate any scene from Space Marine 2 or the show that comes out soon. What's it called? Secret Level on Amazon. Actually, that's a good question. When does Secret Level come out? I'm real excited to watch it. Here we go. Looking good, looking good. All right. Well, perfect. I think we're ready to give it that coat of Nuln Oil. So let's zoom the camera back. And then we'll start our first coat. And we'll do a gentle, fast coat. Just glaze it. Looking good, looking good. That's some good glazing. Looks like Nuln Oil, all right. Yep, just bathing it in the recesses. Giving it a good oil bath. Yep. Gonna look good shading, all right. Fantastic. Grim, dark, gritty oil. There's a reason why it's called Grim Dark and not Noble Bright. And it's not just because of the paint schemes. Although I will say, John Blanche's old paint colors definitely helped contributed to that. Very unique take on a space property. Very nice, thick and oily. Can't forget the chains there. Oh yeah, look at that oil wash. That's looking good. I can't wait to hit it with the next layer. Let's hit the... Why don't we go ahead and skip the ball red and go right to the pistol. Oh, that works actually, because now it looks a little more worn than I usually do it. Well, this was a fantastic suggestion, Francois. This looks real great. I sure appreciate your insight. Thanks for the tip. So let's let that dry a bit. And then we'll move on to our next layer of flesh on Titus. Do a nice thin layer. Very thin, very thin. Perfect. This next layer we do will probably be where we go in with the Guilliman flesh. Perfect. Look at this handsome hero. Pride of the Imperium, Lieutenant Titus. Now that I think about it, we're actually in a unique spot where we can start working on some of the texture for the base. So, I normally like using just red earth. However, I'm thinking of mixing it with a little bit of Martian iron earth to get a little bit smoother texture. And then we can do globs of sterling mud. No, excuse me, a Grillin earth. I just like doing little globs of earth to just make it look less uniform in texture. Just give it some little standout stuff. When I put the grass on and other shades, just make it a little more, look more like some natural environment rather than just mono. Make it look more like real earth, you know? So let's start mixing this. Get a little bit of the texture and a little bit of the color. Looking good, looking good. I'll tell you what, Warhammer is definitely a labor of love, because we've been at this for about 2 hours now, and he's still not done. And Matt, I hear that Golden Demon winners spend over 500 hours on their work, and I believe it. There we go. Once this dries and cracks a little bit, I'll start putting in the Grillin earth. There we go. Looking real good. It's going to take a while longer for that lawn oil to dry, it looks like. Let's take a look at Titus's head again. Oh yeah, that Cadian flesh is dry, so that Kislev flesh is dry, so why don't we put down our first layer of Gulliman flesh? There we go. And away we go. Oh yeah, doesn't he look so aged and fierce? I like it. Gulliman flesh is some of my favorite shade paint precisely because it helps bring some depth to that face. Also, make that our first layer of brown hair. We want to make it a dark head of hair. So that's where we're going to go with the rhinox hide eventually. Looking good, looking good. Starting to show his age. All right. I may need to make this a two-parter because I got to run off and take care of the family dinner. So this did end up going not quite according to plan because of the issues with the airbrush, but that's the fun thing about painting Warhammer. You never know what's going to happen. You learn to adapt, and you learn all kinds of different techniques to take care of different problems. And if it didn't happen the way it did, I wouldn't have learned this great painting technique from Francois. So, I think I am going to have to call it a night for now. I'll try to pick this up again maybe tomorrow. For now, I hope you all have a fantastic evening. Stay safe, and may the Emperor bless and protect you. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great Saturday. Bye.